I mean,
welcome to the Toy Rewind Podcast with your hosts, the Brothers Newland. Now, let's talk toys.
and hello, everybody. I'm Michael. May the 4th be with you.
I am John.
And I'm Andrew. I don't know why you said May the 4th be with you, Michael. This is not a Star Wars episode.
We're recording on May the 4th.
But it is not a Star Wars episode.
I got my Star Wars shirt on. Come on now.
But now you got people thinking we're talking about Star Wars.
No, we're not talking about Star Wars.
All right,
I'll
not
just
talking
wait
about Star
for the 6th when we can say Revenge of the 6th.
I thought it was Revenge of the 5th.
I thought it was too, really.
Maybe it is. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't think much about the 5th because the 5th is Cinco de Mayo. It's
Revenge of the 6th after you drank all your Cinco de Mayo stuff.
Yes.
All right, that makes sense. But okay. Welcome to the Toy Rewind Podcast. Just a little place where the three of us like to get together and talk about toys from our childhood and give you a history lesson about how those toys were created and ended up in your households. This week specifically, we didn't have one of these, or we didn't have any of these. We are rewinding back to 1986 to learn about another doll line released by Pleasant Company, as they were helping kids learn parts about American history with books that were written in the perspective of an American girl. So we're talking about American Girl dolls this week. This is kind of a big one. Like, we didn't have these growing up, but John had some in his house for a while. They've all been sold off to pay the rent or the mortgage. And I have one here with me now that is actually Bryony's from when she grew up. So it's going to be fun talking about these and getting a history lesson about them. While they're teaching us history, we're going to get at their history. Look at that. Look at that.
There you go.
John, you want to do your thing before we get into some toy talk?
We can. All right. So check our website over at toyrewindpodcast.com. You can also check us out on crossthestreamsmedia.com. As always, while you're over at Cross the Streams Media, leave us a voicemail. Tell us what you like about our stuff, which podcast you like to listen to the most, what toys you don't have, ideas for future podcasts, whatever you want us to do. Just leave us a voicemail. We'll play it if we get one. Maybe. You can email us at toyrewindpodcast@gmail.com. Instagram, Twitter, and say what?
So we'll play it.
Oh, yeah, we'll play it. Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch is all Toy Rewind Pod. Facebook and YouTube is Toy Rewind Podcast. And as always, we do stream some of our toy box showcases or little get-togethers we do as we decide to show something on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch as well. And then you can play our podcast bingo over at podcastbingo.com/Toy Rewind.
So yeah, if you're a fan of our show, you might have heard last week as we were talking the last couple weeks, we've been talking about the Dorksmen a little bit. And we had Joey on last week with us. And there was a bit of a question honestly dropped over to the Dorksmen. I didn't think they would actually answer it, but they did. They answered which one of their favorite brothers, which one of their Newland brothers is their favorite. That's what I was trying to say. Yeah. And Michael got a vote. Me and John did not get votes. John got he's the quiet and seems like a nice guy.
Right, but you just seem to be thrown to the back, and we're like,
the best part about that is we are amping up to do our Super Nintendo episode.
Yeah.
And Clint won't be on for that one. Sorry, Clint. He is now, as of this episode releasing, going to be 85 episodes behind because we know that he listened to the one with Joey because they talked about it. But that's about it. So they did ask us a question.
Oh.
Oh, they did. All right.
Yeah, they asked us a question. They want to know who would win in a fight between the three of us.
Oh, yeah.
I do remember that. I already told y'all it'd be me.
Yeah, so John says John would win. I don't know why he thinks he would win. Michael's not winning.
No,
Sorry, Michael.
I would win. I
Why do you
always
think you
win.
would win, Michael?
Because I always have. Yeah. I got my tactics. I know how to beat you guys.
When did you ever win a fight?
All the
between
time.
us?
All the time.
So, better question yet. I don't think we've ever really gotten into a fight between any of us.
No.
We've horseplayed. Someone got thrown through a wall, or their elbow got thrown through a wall. We moved the speaker and blocked it.
That is fixed now, actually, to tell you the truth. I'm looking at the spot now.
Yeah, Michael's in that room. I'm pretty sure that all of us have won in a skirmish. Not a fight. We've never actually fought. But I'm pretty sure all three of us have won in a skirmish.
Right. I still think it's me. I'm more trained.
Yeah, John's got that
Okay.
military training, but I know y'all's weaknesses. So yeah, if something comes up, I can.
And we know yours.
I don't have weaknesses.
Yeah, okay.
So that's your answer, Clint. Not that you'll ever hear this, but no.
We'll never know.
Yeah, but yeah, we'll never know.
We usually
We,
don't get into
we
fights.
won't know. We won't get in a fight.
Yeah. If one of us gets hurt, it's probably because we're doing something stupid. It has nothing to do with us fighting. It's because we're doing something stupid and somebody got thrown off or something.
Right.
I
Yeah,
do think, the question comes up every once in a while on their podcast about doing a battle royale between them and was it Secondary Heroes or something?
Ooh.
I think three of us could take all of them anyway. So there we go. Be us against the other two, and yeah.
So you think Toy Rewind can take the Dorksmen and Secondary Heroes?
Yeah, I think so.
So this is now turned into the Anchorman fight,
Yeah,
right?
Yep.
Because Secondary Heroes and the Dorksmen are not combining, right?
Nah.
They're still against
already
each other.
They're against each other
All right.
already.
All right, so this is the this is the Anchorman fight in podcast form. The three of us against the three of them against the three of them. And Gary can be the person who watches.
He can be the ref.
Yeah, he can be the
Referee.
ref. And maybe we get the STS guys in on this too.
Oh
I'd go with that.
Well, maybe
See,
it is the SDS guys. It's the SDS guys and Dorksman, I think. Maybe.
Is it
Maybe
those?
maybe it wasn't Secondary Heroes. Maybe it was SDS guys.
We know it's not the average nerd.
We'll throw
They're
them
too
in
maxed,
too. We'll just
actually.
all. Yeah, there we go.
It's all the podcast fighting.
All of us got three people on it. There you go.
Okay,
do we
there we
wanna
go.
fight?
There we go. Because it's fun. All right.
Go meet up somewhere and have some good food or something.
Go.
Let's settle it
We
down.
can have a
listen.
food fight. Food fight.
There we
you
go. There we go.
Yeah.
Go
Alright.
listen to the Dorksmen. Nobody cares about Clint, but go listen to him anyways. He'll have to apologize. He'll have to apologize before we allow him back on the show. But we do want that Nintendo knowledge, but somebody deserves an apology. So, all right. This week we are
All right.
talking.
You want an apology?
I'm good with them. So I got to vote.
Somebody
He didn't vote for me, but he didn't say bad things about me.
somebody deserves an apology. You can take that up with whoever you think that might be, Clint, and we'll see if it's the right person. But this week we are talking about American Girl dolls, so we need to get on it. And so, Michael, are you ready? As he clears his throat.
Let's go.
Sorry, didn't mean to ask you that right at that right time.
No, that's fine.
All right, well then let's rewind and get into it.
All right. Okay. So American Girl dolls. These are 18-inch dolls. The original ones. There's some other sizes. They went a little long, but say 18-inch dolls. Created by Pleasant Rowland. in 1986. They were a line of dolls intended to help teach history. So in 1984, Rowland took a trip to the Colonial Williamsburg and thought that girls might get more into history if they could relate through a doll. So later, when she was shopping for her nieces, she realized that pretty much all the dolls that were on the market at the time were either Barbie dolls or Cabbage Patch dolls, and nothing in between. So you had Barbie dolls, which were like teenage, grown up. No, when you're trying to play with them, that's what you're trying to be. Or you have Cabbage Patch dolls, and you're trying to be a mama to the Cabbage Patch dolls. So they're not really teaching anything. And she wanted to teach people things, the history and American history and all that kind of stuff. So that's what she was trying to come up with. So after coming up with this idea, she took most of the money she had. So she was a textbook author and also a TV reporter and a teacher as well. So she had a bunch of money saved up from royalties from her textbook stuff. So she took most of that money and put it into this, and they called it after herself, called Pleasant Company. So she decided to sell the dolls through a catalog ordering, in which you could call and place orders. Back then in the 80s, they didn't have web design or web pages or anything like that. The internet wasn't around, and she didn't want to put it in stores. So she did this catalog. I guess mailed the catalog out. Then you would just call and place orders. There's a lot of catalog stuff going on back in the 70s and 80s. So the first that she did have some pushback from focus groups and others around her that thought kids couldn't handle some of the stuff that she actually put in, which we'll go into. But a lot of people didn't think that this would be a good idea. But she kept pushing on. It was her own money, so that's didn't really hurt her. She wasn't having anybody else back her or anything like that. So she put her own money into it and succeeded with it. So
I mean, you do what you want with your own money.
Yeah, you can do. Yeah, if you want to do it, then do it. Yeah. And it's a great idea. It helps teach history, stuff like that. I know there's some other issues and stuff with this line that people thought it wasn't the right thing and stuff like that. With some of the ideals and stuff that were taught through these dolls, and especially like the pushback she's getting. She didn't think. People didn't think that the issues that she was bringing up was right for young kids. Let's wait till they get older. But if they understand it, then they need to know about it. That's the way I think. So, but okay. So the first three dolls, you had Kirsten, which was a Swedish immigrant growing up in the frontier. You had Samantha, who was a wealthy Edwardian girl being raised by her grandmother. And then Molly, a girl growing up through World War II. So these were all different places in history, times in history that these girls' stories were being told. So, like I said, the dolls, so these dolls came with a bed that kind of matched their time period. That the girls that are playing with them can put them on for nap time or whatever. And then they had their own period costumes. So whatever time period they're in, the wardrobe fits that time period. And then there was trunks that actually carried them and their belongings in. So it was a little trunk that the doll would, if you're going somewhere, you want to carry it with you, you can put the doll in there and then all the other accessories and stuff. And then you can also order clothing that actually matched the doll's clothing that you could actually wear. So the little girls that had this doll can look just like the doll. So like I said, these were very well made, with the heads and arms and legs made of vinyl. I think it's a spun vinyl is what they called it when you put in this the mold and you pour the vinyl in there and it spins and it makes sure everything gets formed. All the vinyl forms into all the little tiny cracks and spaces and everything. And when it comes out, it's just about perfect. You
That's
don't
how
have to
they
worry
get those
about
details.
Yeah, you just spin it, and the centrifugal force puts all that vinyl in the right spot, and then when it hardens, you don't have any bubbles or anything like that. So, the bodies of the dolls were made of cloth that were hand stuffed, and I think they still do that to this day. They still make them the same way. And the head is attached by a neck cord or zip tie. It just holds it to that body. And it doesn't. It's kind of almost hard to separate the head from the body if the kid played with it too much or really rough with it or whatever. So, some dolls can take up to almost a year to get from the time that you ordered it, because each face is sculpted by hand. To create a more sense of realism, the faces are actually inherently asymmetrical. So it's like a person's real face. It's not gonna look perfect. Both sides look the same. So,
Yeah, Kirsten has one dimple's a little bit more than the other one.
yeah. So yeah, one side. I mean,
and her nose is not straight. That's cool.
Yeah. So you didn't know that till now, huh?
No, I didn't. I would never know. I would have never paid that much attention.
Noticed either.
You learned.
Yeah, I would have never noticed.
So, also creating historical dolls could take up to 3 to 5 years as well, from the concept to the finished product, due to the time it takes to create a story. They consult with historians and linguists. I can't say that right. In order to get everything right about that background of the doll, they would go back into talk to people who were experts in that time period. They would go to museums. They would go to just people who were really, really knowledgeable about that area that doll was supposed to be placed in, the time period, the area that they grew up in, everything like that. Just so they'd have all the details correct in the storyline, so they can actually teach the history part of that area. So
they're giving real history. They're not making up a history.
No, they're getting real in-depth history. Yeah,
it's not like Little House on the Prairie here.
No. This is, and these dolls all grew up different ways and different places. So the dolls, they also come with a book in which you can buy the book separately, but when you buy the doll, it came with the book that detailed the stories and histories of that doll. So each book comes with a section that teaches the real history behind the events of that book. So historical events taught in these books were, like in the case of Samantha, child labor at the turn of the century. There's also Addie. There's, like I said, there's a couple other girls here as well. So Addie was another one. She was an enslaved African American that dealt with slavery, and then she ran away and became free and stuff like that. So that's part of the story. Like I said, the history of this, it teaches what happened during that time period. Felicity is another doll. So this one grew up through the Revolutionary War. So it kind of gives the kid a child's background on how it was to grow up during the Revolutionary War. You had Josefina, which was growing up in New Mexico, which was still under the Spanish capitalism or colonialism. So before, if I get it right, before the U.S. took over New Mexico, it gave that her background growing up in that time period. And that's the original 6 dolls. You had Kirsten, Samantha, Molly, Addie, Felicity, and Josefina. So that's the 6 original dolls and their backgrounds. Let's see. So later they added a few more. You had Kit, which grew up in the Great Depression. You have Kaya, Kaya. She had a long name, but she was a I remember which. It was an Indian. I can't remember which. Oh, Nez Pierce. She was a Nez Pierce Indian girl living in the Pacific Northwest before anybody discovered that part of the U.S. Back before white man showed up and took over the Indian stuff. So she had no knowledge about anything except for the Indian culture that she grew up in.
Kaya Yatanami?
Yeah, what you just said.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. But Kaya is her shorter
Kaya,
name
yeah.
that she goes by. So you have Rebecca Rubin, who was a Jewish immigrant living in New York City in the early 1910s. You had Nanea. She was a biracial native Hawaiian girl growing up during the attacks during Pearl Harbor. You had Mary Ellen, which was a girl growing up in the 1950s who has polio. Then you had Melody, a black girl growing up in the 1960s, Detroit. Julio is a girl growing up in the 1970s. And then you had Courtney, which is a girl growing up in the 1980s. So they kind of pick each decade for some of these dolls and their backstories. But they touched on the eras that they grew up in. Like Kaya, she her backstory, and like I said, they went back and talked to people who were actually part of the Nez Pierce Indians. That have that family history, and then they talked to historians and stuff like that to get all that information right, so they can write this story about her the right way. And then this other Rebecca Rubin being an immigrant in New York City, a Jewish immigrant in New York City in the early 1910s. So, they not only is it that time period, but it's certain areas, that people grew up in. Like I said, that's New York City. You have Nanea, who was during Pearl Harbor attacks. That gives her the storybook, and with her gives that background of what she would have went through as a little girl during that time, having to deal with the attacks, at Pearl Harbor. And then Mary Ellen had polio. So you had that's something that's not around anymore, but it was a big deal back in the early 1900s. The Melody grew up in 1960s Detroit. That's a whole different area than if you grew up, somewhere else in California or Texas or New York itself. Detroit was a different area. So it's like I said, they wanted to teach the history in those sections of the country during those time periods. And like I said, there was a lot of backlash on, hey, I don't think kids should be able to learn this stuff, but if they understand it, then they'll learn quicker. It's better for them.
Yeah.
So
just looking at these pictures, it's very interesting how they've done all their hair. Like, they're very accurate to their hairstyles.
mm-hmm.
And I think that just helps bring out the more authenticity of these. They're really cool.
Yeah.
Like, I think she did a great job to get this going.
Yeah. And some of them, as they went along, there was other dolls added throughout the years, but some of them had friend dolls. Like the first historical Asian American doll was named Ivy Ling. She was actually Julia's companion, Julia's friend. But they didn't keep the friend dolls around very long, so they were kind of retired. And some of these dolls as well, they retired as time has gone by. So because they keep they'll add more historical dolls and stuff.
Yeah, Ivy was released. Ivy was released in 2007 and retired in 2014.
Yeah. So.
Kirsten here was released in '86 and retired in 2010. But I believe I read something that they actually brought some of them back. Like
some of them were
original
retired during the 90s, and they brought them back for another short run, and then they retired them again in like 2010, 2011, somewhere around there. So
Yeah.
But like I said, she had a hard time trying to getting this thing off the ground, and when she did, it was a success. The only the other big thing that was the cost of it. She wanted to, and I understand doing these by hand pretty much, and the time that they spent to get all the historical things right. All the clothing, the doll is completely made by hand. Everything. So it takes time, and time is money. So it is going to be quite expensive doll for something like that. Whereas, you can go get a Barbie doll or a Bratz doll or Cabbage Patch doll, which was kind of expensive then, but they're cheaply made. So they're cheaper.
Yeah.
Whereas these were at the time what John, you said they were like $80 something for
$82.
So how much is $82 now?
215.
So back then in '86, $215 if in today's money that you're looking at. So that is expensive. So you had to have a family that was pretty well off to be able to get a couple of these at least.
Yeah.
If you were a low middle class or whatever, you may not get these. So, and it may be you get one and it's a one time thing. You may not get another one. But some of these, that's one thing that people talk about is these dolls were were so expensive that not everybody was able to get one. So. So a few things throughout the years. Excuse me.
As he coughs. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. So in 1988, they had a hospital open for these. I know we talked about a little hospital thing with Cabbage Patch dolls.
I was gonna say, was that Cabbage Patch?
Yeah, it was Cabbage Patch dolls that you would send and everything, and then but this hospital, when you sent your doll, if you had something tore or something like that, arm breaks or something, or you need something fixed on the doll, you can send the doll to this hospital, and then they would fix the doll, patch it up, whatever, and then send it back to you. And then they got to the point where when you did that, they sent them back. They had a new gown, a new and some other stuff that's new to it. So they added some extra features that you got back once you got your doll back. So 1991, the cloth body color changed from white because the original dolls were a white cloth. John, you said that the logo on the back was a curved logo.
Yeah.
With the Pleasant Company logo. Mm-hmm. And then when they changed this, they changed from white to a tan color fabric. The logo changed. So if you have a white bodied doll with the curved logo, then it's worth some money. So it's one of the first ones. So 1994, the American Girl of Today line was released. These were dolls that represented the individuality and diversity of today's American girls. You can also get this line is still going was still going on today, but it's kind of changed names. So the same line was renamed Just Like You in 2006, My American Girl in 2010, and then Truly Me in 2015. But it's the same line. They just kind of changed the name of it.
Yeah.
So they you can also order dolls that would look just like you. I think that's part of this line here. If you wanted one to look that resembled the resembled whoever was going to get it, you can do that. Like I said, they take like a picture of you and try to, and like I said, that goes back with making a year or longer to make these dolls to resemble the little girl that gets it. So 1996, there was an online website that popped up, but you couldn't order anything on it. It was just an online. It just showed the dolls that were available, and you still had to call to order these dolls. See, 1998. This is a big thing. 1998, Roland sold the company to Mattel for $700 million. So that's a lot of money.
That's a
So
lot of money.
so now,
How much you think she had into it?
she put $1 million into it because I was reading her royalties from the textbooks that she authored was $1.2 million. She set $200,000 to the side just in case something happened. She had that money to the side. She took the other $1 million and put into this and made this toy line. So out of the $1 million that she invested into this, she ended up selling it in 1998, which was 13 years later for $700 million. So
she'd already made back some money already.
Yeah, she already made the money already back on that.
And then
plus, yeah.
Wow.
So
I still don't know. I don't know if this is a good investment.
But
I don't know if it's a good investment. Like it could have been more.
I don't know. But I mean, $700 million in 98, that's a lot of money.
You think they made their $700 million back since then?
They may have. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure they have.
It's Mattel. So anything you get from 98 on is Mattel made, but the dolls are still made the exact same way as they were when she made them back then. So
that's okay. 700 million in 1998 would be the equivalent of 1.2 billion now.
Really? Wow. So it's kind of 1.2. Yeah, that's a lot.
I'm pretty sure Mattel has made that much money on things. I mean, with their stores and all their stuff. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, just opening up the stores alone.
Yeah, and speaking of the stores, 1998 was also the first year that they opened up a store. It was in Chicago. It was American Girl store, and that's where you can. That's the first store you can actually go in and buy these dolls. You couldn't buy them anywhere else except for ordering on the phone. You know, the website still didn't have that where you can order online yet. You still had to call, but this was the first time you can buy one without having to order it on the online. So you could just go in and buy one that was already pre-made. So, and now they had more stores pop up, but currently there's 13 locations here in the U.S. and there's one international location in Manama, Bahrain. I don't know where exactly that's at. It's in Bahrain, but
there's only 13.
There's only 13 currently. Yes.
There's 2 in Texas.
Yeah, there's one in Dallas. Was it the Galleria?
Yeah, right by the Galleria.
Yeah, and then there's one in Houston. So there's Charlotte, North Carolina, Chicago, Columbus, Ohio, Dallas, Hershey, Pennsylvania, Houston, Los Angeles, Miami, Nashville, New York City, Orlando, San Francisco, and Washington, D.C. are the current locations. They did have some in Seattle, Scottsdale, Arizona, Overland Park, Kansas, Atlanta, Denver, Dubai. There was actually 2 in Dubai. There was Toronto, Bloomington, Minnesota, which was Mall of America, Natick, Massachusetts, Mexico City, Mexico, Interlomas, Mexico, Mexico City, Mexico. There was 2 in Mexico City. Chesterfield, Missouri, and Oshkosh, Wisconsin. Looking at all those, they all closed within the last 3 years. No, there's one in 2016. 1, 2, 3, 4 of them closed in 2018, 3 of them in 2019, and others closed in 2020, and one of them closed. The Seattle one closed last at 2021. So the last 3 years, most of them have closed 3 or 4 years.
I was about to say, I thought there was one in Denver. So if it's closed in the last 3 years, that makes sense.
Yeah, Denver. Where did Denver go? I saw Denver. Oh, it closed in 2020. So yeah.
Yeah. So this is what other toy line has an entire store dedicated to it?
Legos.
Lego. What else?
That's pretty much it.
Like, I can't think of any others.
And that's
And
Legos. Legos is a huge toy. So I mean, this kind of puts it up there around the Lego
really
time. If you
awful.
got, they're little toys, but they're a big line.
They're the fact, and they have these stores. Have you ever been in one, Michael?
No, I hadn't been in one. No.
John, have you ever been in one?
A Lego store or American Doll?
An American Girl store.
No.
So I've been in the one in Denver and the one in Dallas multiple times. You go in there to buy something, and like there's everything you can get. Again, you get the doll, you get the clothes, you get all of that. You can get your clothes to match, like all the different sizes. You can do the custom ones there where you can order them, and there's like just off the shelf, there's like 92 something versions of the Just For You doll or whatever it is, the ones that are just like you.
Yeah.
But then you can customize from there and have it shipped to you where they can customize them and do more. But like they've 92 different versions that you can walk out of the store with.
Yeah.
The
only other toy line I could think of is like Build-A-Bear.
Build a yeah.
You go in and you build your own. Yeah.
Yeah. Like these, the stores are crazy. There's a restaurant you can go in and have lunch or dinner with your doll, birthday parties, all kinds of stuff. Like it is an experience. And like we've mentioned, these aren't cheap, but they're very well made.
Yeah.
So I mean, not quite up my alley, but I'm glad I have one here. I'm glad Bryony has one. She enjoyed it. I know that. Evie had some. She had some of the cheaper ones, the Welly Wishers that you could, when they branched out to Target.
Mm-hmm.
She enjoyed those. She still has those. So
yeah,
I think it's kind of cool. I like the history part of it too. Like that,
mm-hmm.
Gives the dolls more of a reason and like, yeah, teach kids history. Like why not?
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at the one, I thought this seems a little soon or a little later than I thought. Logan was the first American boy doll.
Yes.
Released in 2017.
Yeah, he was 2017 before the first boy doll came out. Yes.
So I could have swore it was sooner than that, but maybe I just wasn't paying attention.
I don't know. I looked in several different spots, and that's all I saw was 2017 for him.
Logan's story. He's a boy who belongs or becomes part of a music duo with Teeny and learns the importance of teamwork and dedication, all while dealing with the absence of his dad at home.
Mm-hmm.
That's heavy.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, a lot crazy. A lot of these have different, reasons why they were in those particular time periods. Like I said, was that Samantha? She was raised by her grandmother. They all have different things, and talking about that being heavy, but Addie was a slave that escaped, and her story takes her from escaping slavery and then finding the freedom that she needs. All as a little girl. It's not as an adult that's already grown up, but she has to deal with it. A little girl has to deal with all this, and that's what the book kind of takes you through that mindset and to teach the kids about that time era. What else was there? I had another one I was going to think of. Molly grew up through World War II. You know what went on through a little girl's mind having to go through war, having to deal with that. It's a scary time, So, I know what I was thinking about. Talking about Addie. Addie was actually, her story was actually adapted by a real person, somebody that actually went through that. I didn't catch the lady's name, but
let's see if I can. Which one was Addie?
Addie was the slave girl that, and I don't have.
Yeah, here we go. Addie Walker.
Okay. I mean, it was an exact story from that lady, but it was taken from her story and kind of adapted. But but like I said, these are kind of heavy things going through history for kids, So
Right.
But
interesting. Addie. It says Addie released in '93 and got cubed, which is a term for the dolls that were only available online and in the flagship stores.
Okay,
that's interesting.
Yeah. So the online thing. So a few more history years here. 1999 was the first time you can actually purchase from the website. It was available in the website where you can purchase online. Then there was 2001 where it was Girl of the Year line was released, which was that doll was available that year. And then after the year, it was retired and another doll was put in for the next year. Now there are some that carried over in the 2 years, but most of them all had 1 year runs and then they were retired. Around that same time, you had Bitty Baby, a line of 15-inch baby dolls targeted to children 3 years and older. So these were targeted for some younger kids. And then 2003, Bitty Twins debuted to represent a slightly older toddler or preschool size doll. And this line was discontinued all in 2016. So it lasted from 2003 to 2016. Also, 2003 saw the release of the Hopscotch Hill School line. This was a 16-inch tall doll and came with jointed limbs and painted eyes. These were aimed at elementary age kids from 4 to 6 years old. So probably kindergarten type kids. And these were sold from 2003 to 2006. And then, like Andrew mentioned, the Welly Wishers, these came out in 2016. These were similar to the Hopscotch Hill School line, but these dolls had Wellington boots, or wellies, I guess you call them. So there was 4 of them, and I didn't write down their names, but there was four or five dolls in that line. And then 2017, the last year I have on here, released a new 18-inch line called Contemporary Characters. This line contains dolls that have different interests in life. This is where Logan comes in. So you had an aspiring country singer. You had one that was interested in photography. And then, like I said, Logan was the first boy doll in this. He went along with the group with the one that was an aspiring country singer. And they all had obstacles to overcome. Like I said, Logan didn't grow up without a dad, just kind of things like that is what they kind of put in these stories to help teach kids that other kids or have the same issues that they have. And then if you put your mind to it, you can overcome those issues and do what you want to do, like be a country singer or be a photographer or something, a painter or whatever you want to do, you can do. So that's just kind of the stuff that they want to teach the kids.
So I don't like that. I think that's cool. Interesting thing about the Welly Wishers, because Evie had some of these. They all had these rain boots, these Wellington rain boots, right? And you could get those rain boots for your kids to match.
Yeah.
And the way they did it is it was a clear rain boot, and you had socks that matched what the girls would wear. So you could wear socks, and then instead of having to buy 4 or 5 pairs of rain boots, you have one pair of rain boots and these socks that then it shows through. I think that's genius.
Hey, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Because nobody wants to like have to buy all those different pairs of boots. So that is genius that they thought about that. And more power to them. I thanks for saving me having 5 pairs of boots around the house.
Yeah.
So I think it's awesome. I actually like these. I think they're pretty cool. Like, I think it's a great idea for a doll line like this to help teach history and whatnot. And the fact that she had to go through all of that turmoil and people telling her that kids couldn't deal with it. Kids can deal with things. You give it to them in the way that they, in like a way that they can handle it, they can deal with, like they can do it. Like, and I think that's cool.
Yeah.
Speaking of, we gotta rank these unless you have any more monthly or any more yearly facts.
No, that's all, and like I said, they still make these the same way that she did back in from 86. They're made pretty much exactly the same. They're durable because they're handmade. They're very durable the way they're made. So you can actually be the kids can actually be kind of rough with them. and still the doll holds up. So but most of them, a lot of adults collect these because they are more of a collectible type thing now.
Especially for the pricing.
Yeah, the pricing, and the details that are put into these. Now I think it's even cool that even when they do the face molds, the face sculpts, they're asymmetrical, so they're like real people almost. Yeah. So,
I know Karen had a bitty baby, and then I want to say she probably had about 5 that Megan's uncle bought for her. And
that's why I said you paid the mortgage, John.
I don't even know if we sold them. We gave them away.
So John didn't pay the mortgage.
I don't know.
All right,
I wouldn't be surprised if we still have some up at Megan's parents' house somewhere.
Yeah. Michael, where do you put these on your list?
I don't know. I mean, I like the way the detailing into this. I'm going to put it right under Beanie Babies, which is 11, 12, 13. So to go 14 on my list.
14 for Michael.
Yeah.
John?
I don't even know where to put them on my list.
Number 1?
No.
I think it's great. It just doesn't fit with my personal opinion.
I think that's the biggest deal in this one is it's a personal deal.
But it's a great product. It's a teaching tool is what she really wanted. Plus, Roland wanted to have as that teaching tool, and it's a great teaching tool. So,
I'm going to put them right above Beanie Babies.
So number 12?
Yeah.
Number 12. Mine are going 14 also because I'm putting them right between right between Troll Dolls and Polly Pocket. The Troll Dolls have a little bit more significance to me. But like we've all said, the history part of this, being able to teach, the way they're made, the fact that they like to do this asymmetrical thing and they're like a real person. Like, I think that's great. Having collectibles, this is awesome. Like, this one's going to go on the shelf. Right, we pulled it out of the box this morning. It's going to go on the shelf over there. And I think it's awesome. Like I said, you got to teach. That's great. And I'm sad that they're not going to be higher, but I like Mad Balls.
I got to look at some Mad Balls is pretty low on my list. I didn't realize they were that and Popples. I'm all, why did they got Popples so low on my list?
Mad Balls are number 8 for me, but GoBots are number 6. Stupid GoBots. I think I missed them after I was looking at so many things. Speaking of, you got a GoBot. What do you guys think? Do you think Larry had one of these?
No, not this one.
No. Let's see. Larry?
Hey, it's Larry from the STS guys. American Girl dolls. Probably no surprise here. I did not have an American Girl doll. Not that there's anything wrong with the boys having an American Girl doll. I just didn't have one.
Thanks, Larry. Thanks for dropping us a line. By the way, Larry uses that voicemail feature that John was talking about earlier to send those into us. So you could hear yourself on this podcast if you did that. I think it's funny that he is like, it's not that it's bad for boys to have an American Girl doll, but just didn't, I think that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
What else, you guys? What else we got on these? We're not surprised that Larry didn't have one.
No, I think that pretty much covers American Doll line. Like I said, to me, it seems like a great teaching tool for younger kids. It helps them understand some of these big times throughout our history. So,
the heaviness of these stories. The heaviness of these stories.
If you dig into them, there's some serious stuff going on.
It's like Up. It's like the beginning part of Up.
Mm-hmm.
Like I still remember when I first watched that movie, and I was like, Pixar did that, really? Like, wow! And they did a great job at it, but it was like heavy. That's probably what these are. Like they take care of something really well. So.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we want to thank you for listening to our podcast where we talk about toy lines. We've been doing this. This is episode 86. So we've been doing this for a while now. We are also part of a podcasting group called Cross Streams Media. So you can go and check out some of the other partner podcasts that we have, crossstreamsmedia.com. Things like The Dorksmen, the STS Guys, Secondary Heroes, 3 Beers and a Mic, The Movie Gap, the Dan Aykroyd podcast, the Burt Reynolds and Charles Bronson podcast, Front Row Negative, The Art of the Boar, Beering Ain't Easy, Hot Tub Beer, Which is More Gooder, Deep Dive into a Dive Bar. There's lots of content, pretty much almost something for anybody there. So you should go check it out. Go to crossstreamsmedia.com. That's also, you can find us there, and that's how you can leave us those voicemails. You can also get a lot of our information, like our toy listings that we were just talking about, our rankings. You can see those over at toyrewindpodcast.com. I need to put a link to go over to Cross Streams to leave us a voicemail directly from our site. I should do that this week.
Yeah,
so,
I've been listening to 3 Beers and a Mic do their review of Moon Knight. So
Moon Knight.
Yeah, and I don't. Dwayne just doesn't get it, I guess. So
I
funny thing
gotta
about
watch
Moon
the last
Knight,
one. So
funny thing about Moon Knight, you guys started that, and you were like, "Why aren't you watching it?" And I finished it before you guys did.
Well, it came out. Okay, so as of us recording this, it came out this morning, and Wednesdays are my early day. So
I'm pretty sure Joey. I'm pretty sure Joey watched this before he went to work this morning.
Oh, he probably.
And he's
watched
a teacher.
Last night before he went to bed.
Yeah, but I had a late night last night. I had to turn around and get up early this morning, so I didn't have time to.
It's a great show. The last couple minutes, oof, man.
I may watch it. I may go watch it now because I don't have to get up early in the morning. So
yeah, it's a great show.
I got to get up, so it won't be till tomorrow before I see it. So I want to see how they get everything fit in the last 20 minutes of the show.
Right.
Yeah, it's really worth it.
Short.
I really like the storyline.
I do too.
I do. It's a good change from like normal superheroes and Marvel stuff. I like it. I think they did a really good job at it.
It's different. Yeah. It's different.
Very much.
And I like how they did the storyline. Yeah.
I watched the first episode and I was like, oh, this is fun. Like,
Mhm.
I wasn't expecting that at all. And then I was trying to figure out how they were going to explain a lot of things, and they did a great job at that.
Yeah.
So
Just gotta pay
I'm very
attention.
much happy with it. Okay.
So Andrew,
I
did
think
you
that's it.
you like to work numbers on these episodes that we do? Did you match the year these came out with the episode number, or did you even catch that?
Oh yeah, John. Come on. Do you really have to ask that?
He did.
Anybody
He knew what he was
know-
doing.
Anybody know what year the movie Willow came out is?
Oh man,
John, you-
I know it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh,
the
come
top of
on.
my
It's
head.
episode 88.
Right.
Come on. They're all lined up. Everything is lined up with something. Episode 90. Just a little history on this. Episode 90. We're about to talk about some more Happy Meal toys, starting from 90 to 95.
Mhm.
Come on, John. You know I did that. You know I did that on purpose. 86.
I can't wait
My favorite.
for the Willow.
I can't. I know you're waiting for 88. I'm waiting for 93. I can't wait for episode 93. So we're gonna leave it at that. I'm not gonna tell you what it is. You can try to figure out what you think might be coming in episode 93. So with this, thanks for listening to episode 86 of the Toy Rewind podcast. And on behalf of the Brothers Newland, I'm trying to find it. Play on.
You've been listening to the Toy Rewind podcast. Follow and join in the conversations at toyrewindpodcast.com.